I'm deaf. You know that. I think I'm deaf from so many years of wearing headphones, honestly. They're so loud. Now the music's loud. What's going on over there? I know it's your birthday, Frizz, but that doesn't allow you the opportunity to not get yelled at. Happy birthday, bud.
Thank you.
He's finally 21.
Yeah. After a decade at 20.
I told him, you said I'll consume a beverage for you for your birthday. I said, well, I don't drink on Mondays or Tuesdays. Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. Sure, bud.
Hey, I only drink on special occasions, when the sun goes down,
or like a day that ends in Y.
Yeah, or something like that. But I've never taken a drink on a total eclipse. I've got that in mind.
All right. Well, we have to start with some breaking news. All right. Let me plug in here. This is what I should have been doing. Instead, we were shooting the breeze before we came live on the radio this morning. Here we go. Breaking news. Bum, 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 bum.
Grab your bat and balls and get ready to move as the JOCK 98.7 becomes 96.9 and AM 1060. ESPN The JOCK, your total sports station. We're all moving. Art Haynes, Nate Lucas, Guy Newcomb, and all your favorite JOCK programs. It's the same big dysfunctional family, just at a different address. 96.9 and AM 1060 ESPN The JOCK. We'll be having a little house party at our new address.
I like this kind of party!
96.9 and AM 1060 ESPN The JOCK.
That's right. 96.9 and AM 1060 ESPN The JOCK will be our new home for sports on the radio in Springfield.
Yeah, and just get used to changing that dial this morning.
That's right. Hopefully, I know there's an engineering process that takes place, but and I know that this is going to cause a ripple. People don't necessarily like change as fast as it's going to happen, but the reality is, Jason Wirt, who hosts the Morning Line on AM 560, wrote a story in the Ozarks Independent over the weekend, which you can check out, and he asked me for a quote. And honestly, I just sent him this. I said, I'm so excited for what the Zimmer Radio Group has in store to enhance every single facet of any current station you enjoy under the umbrella. The JOCK has and will continue to serve as Springfield sports leader, and a small change on the dial won't disrupt the supreme local coverage you deserve. Always remember that it's so simple to ask Alexa, if you have one, to play JOCK 96.9 FM or simply stream via the radio Springfield app. If I've done my job correctly and continue to try to entertain the good people of Southwest Missouri, a frequency change should never influence a listener's desire to hear my show. And then I used a quote. People will come, Ray. People will come. People will come. You know, look, I mean, think about several years ago when Howard Stern made the switch to Sirius XM. Now, that is a radical change. He is now asking you to become a subscriber of a show that you have long heard on terrestrial radio for 25, 30 years of entertainment in the mornings. And I'm just using Rush as one example. But he put himself essentially, or not Rush, Howard, he put himself essentially behind a paywall. People came in droves. I mean, Sirius, there's a legitimate concern for Sirius XM once Howard Stern retires, where their brand will kind of shape. And now they've teamed with Pandora, so Pandora, it's like, how many more conglomerates could they add over there? Pandora, Sirius XM, next, who knows what they'll be adding. But they've already decided to change some of their content up. And if you hear anything, any program, they are always promoting the digital world. The digital world is where this industry is truly headed in an enhanced way. Because, you know, for so long, and this is no shot at what's been here before, but the simple fact of the matter is that our digital footprint as far as JOCK 98.7 has been very limited. Very limited. And Don and John Zimmer are going to enhance our viability online through various means. I mean, we're going to have enhanced social media coverage. We're going to have enhanced website coverage. There will be blogs. There will be video that all gets put out there. I mean, there's opportunity galore online. And so when you think about the limitlessness of digital landscape in radio world, you can essentially, I told this to somebody over the weekend, you could essentially have somebody in China listening to this program or these clusters of stations. And it's where it's going. Has it been nice to have a signal that's reliable and 100,000 watt power that, takes you all over Southwest Missouri and you never have to worry about, maybe it fading out? But in all reality, some of the equipment upgrades that the Zimmers are putting into the station, you will be amazed with how much better the signal just sounds right off the bat. And I tested it out yesterday or 2 days ago when I went to the Lake of the Ozarks this weekend, and Saturday I was driving to the Lake of the Ozarks, and I felt like I was a pretty good distance out. I mean, I was up into the 130, 140 area and tuned into 1060 AM, got it fine. And so in this listening area, 96.9 and 1060 AM will be your power horses for the JOCK, ESPN the JOCK. But then even in Buffalo, north of town, where we broadcast games on 99.9 for SBU, and that signal's as good as ever. But I really think that, especially in this time slot, we have so many people. By 9 a.m., a lot of people are at work. And so people go to radiospringfield.com or they download the Radio Springfield app. You've got TuneIn Radio, which is a means. It's just an app you can download. I always remind people, though, Alexa's the greatest thing to have in terms of listening to the radio. Alexa will find the station for you. If you just bring up the call letters, Alexa will go to any of these apps and pull it down for you, and it's crystal clear. I mean, it's HD quality that's being delivered on the digital format. So, look, it's been long thought that because sports are a niche on the radio, they truly are. I know in Southwest Missouri we're extremely proud of our fanship and fandom and whatnot, but the reality is that if you like listening to sports on the radio, you're going to find it. You're going to find it.
Right.
And for 100,000 watt radio station, we have long said that ESPN, the JOCK 98.7, is one of the largest signals per square miles in
the country.
Maybe in the country. I know I don't know that article. I don't know how fresh that is in terms of its up-to-date data.
Right. As far as ESPN, at one time it was the second largest coverage area in the state or in the country.
So that's huge.
That's huge.
And when you think about revenue and where revenue comes from and importance of really building and strengthening your, ties in your most obvious listening area, which would be Springfield and its surrounding counties, immediate counties, I'm not so sure that sports programming is going to be your best way of attaining the most financial potential avenues, revenue systems.
And we've got, there may be a dozen new salespeople in here as well. I mean, you're talking about.
Oh, not might.
Yeah.
There will be.
And, the fact that, this studio is we're going to have some pretty nice digs.
Yeah.
And with the finances that they're putting in with regards to upgrading, maybe moving a tower. I heard that mentioned the other day. The ability to do podcasts. It's just going to be, it's going to be like a kid in a candy store for you, who understands the production and the engineering side of it better than most people here. And I know for me, for sure. So, to have those capabilities at your fingertips, you could spill tea on your computer. You're still going to be able to find it.
Yeah, you don't want to be spilling any tea on this new equipment they'll be putting in. But, yeah, they're going to blow out all these studios. And, this will be a unique building. I actually asked Don Zimmer if they had thought about maybe just moving locations entirely because there's just so much of this building that is outdated and needs really a big refresher. And he brought in, he says, look at the building. There's a lot of potential in here. First of all, it's huge. And no one's recognized that more when There's only been about 5 of us in this building for the last 3 or 4 years, but no, it's a unique building. They're working hard on it. There's going to be some learning curves, but I think that you can only expect for the product and the coverage that makes this station so prominent to only be enhanced. Right. And, this week, Art Haynes is out all week. We'll look at some of the voices that they're going to be bringing in on an interim basis. I mean, look, I didn't have to tell the Zimmers one bit that when Art would leave and I would fill in for Art, it was like I was doing 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and then sometimes a Cardinals game at night. And that was like they looked at that and their eyes rolled back in their heads like, no, whoa, we can't be having that. So tonight you're going to be out at Pinnaker Chevrolet with Corey Riggs.
Yeah, we got Corey will be out there with me tonight, and I was in the same boat. I would do a 2 hour in the morning, then fill in for Art, and then I'd have to go call a football game, high school game, and then get on the air for the scoreboard show. It'd be like 9 hours,
right?
And a lot of driving.
Only Casey Kasem can do that.
Yeah. But, yeah, I got Corey's coming out tonight, and he's already got some guests lined up. We're working on the Price Cutter Cherry Champion from over
Max
the weekend.
McGreevy?
Max McGreevy.
Well, guess what? He's going to join us at 10, so hate to steal your thunder.
Oh, well, maybe we'll just record it.
You could.
We could just record
That's
it.
the best form of radio.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But he's reached out to some other folks. Jason West will be on. There's with Misha and their new regulations and kind of define those. That'll happen tonight. And then tomorrow I'll be out at Battery Outfitters with Kirk Elmquist, the captain.
We'll
be out there, and he's got some PGA guests.
Boy, I've seen Kirk. He's been promoting the hell out of that thing. I'm not sure if I think he's made like 14 Instagram posts. He's fired up.
Yeah.
He's fired up. And as he should be. Now, he used to come in, what was it, Thursdays?
He was in every Thursday.
Every Thursday in here. And, Kirk's been a wonderful contributor to this show. But I think that Kirk brings an element of showbiz, if you will, and he's got a whole cluster of connections that he can bring on. So I've already seen he's going to bring on somebody from the PGA Tour, and so that's wonderful. Wednesday's going to be a unique show in the afternoon with Ned Reynolds and Scott Purr.
That's Thursday.
Oh, that's Thursday. Sorry,
Thursday.
What's Wednesday?
Wednesday's Eldon Combs will be out at Macadoodles with Jason Bernard. Eldon and Jason are neighbors, and Eldon a former host of Sports Talk going back 25 years. And so he's kind of, he got those juices flowing. He actually showed up last Wednesday at Macadoodles, so he's fired up. And then Thursday.
You can't mess up a Wednesday. I hate to break it to you. You can't mess up a Wednesday. Oh, well, maybe you can if you talk too much booze, then somebody hits you up on Twitter and you get into a little spat. I'm just kidding with you, Marty. I love you. No, Jason Bernard is the easiest person to have a sit down and do a show with.
Yeah, he's a Cowboy fan and a Patriot fan.
And a Bruins fan.
Yeah,
you just needle him until, he starts to ooze. So that's Wednesday.
That's Wednesday. Thursday will be at Comfort Inn,
part
of the LA Lodging, and that'll be the Scott Purrier, Ned Reynolds
reunion. When was the last time Scott Purrier was on these airwaves?
2015.
Wow.
I believe was his last. I think that was his last show with Ned. That's before he went over to. He started with KY3 and now he's at MediaCom, but he's freed up some time, and Corey let him off for that 4 to 6. So that was part of the deal. Corey, you can come in and host, Monday, but you got to let Purrier, because Purrier works with Corey over at MediaCom, and then Fridays here will be in studio, and that will be Jenny Hopkins will be in hosting. I know she's got connections too. I mean, maybe a Jimmy Johnson or Joe Namath, on the air with Jenny, but we'll wait and see.
So there you go. That right there, I think, should excite the people of Southwest Missouri. There's a management team that is actively trying to enhance the brand, and that's cool.
And this has been set up for a couple of weeks now. This is not something where we find out the day of.
Right. It wasn't thrown together. This is planned and well thought out, and it will continue to be. I mean, this isn't, those names might not be concrete names. There will be opportunities, I think, in the future. I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes. So it's exciting. I think it is because radio is supposed to be fun. And when the first day that the Zimmers walked through the door, there was an air of fun that was brought back to this building. And, I don't want to come off as negative towards any of the previous ownership because, my goodness, without Mr. Meyer, there's no chance that I'm even sitting in this chair. Like, he gave me a huge opportunity in radio. Do you know how many people, when they turn 26, or I guess what did I turn, 27 or 28 years old, would be loved to hosting a daily morning show on the ESPN affiliate in a third largest market in the state of Missouri? It's just incredible, that just doesn't happen without ever hosting a show before in my life. Just doesn't happen. So he's given me more opportunity. Hell, they created the position to let me do the Springfield Cardinals games in 2016. So that was all a building block, and then through Southwest Baptist. Like, there is not one bad thing you're ever going to hear me say about the previous management. But that does not mean that what the Zimmers are doing now, it's like walking into a gold mine for me.
Right.
And where they are going to take these clusters of stations is going to be extremely fun to watch, and it's going to be a process. But, that promo right there, when was the last time you even heard something done that professional as just a promo of, hey, we're moving?
Yeah.
How about that? So one more time, here's the promo before we get to a couple of phone calls. 417-868-6100, 1-800-869-5927 are the numbers to go. This is the promo we want everyone to be aware.
Grab your bat and balls and get ready to move as the Jock 98.7 becomes 96.9 and AM 1060. ESPN The Jock, your total sports station. We're all moving. Art Haynes, Nate Lucas, Guy Newcomb, and all your favorite Jock programs. It's the same big dysfunctional family, just at a different address. 96.9 and AM 1060 ESPN The Jock. We'll be having a little house party at our new address.
I like this kind of party.
96.9 and AM 1060 ESPN The Jock.
Oh, yeah. That's the same voiceover talent that they'll use on 101 ESPN, the big ESPN affiliate in St. Louis. So, that's about as professional as you're going to find. But I like that he calls it the big dysfunctional family because, man, nothing could be truer than that. Anything that includes Nate Lucas is dysfunctional as all get out.
It's all fun.
But we managed.
And we're having a party right now. We got cake in here now.
I know. You brought cake in for Frizz's birthday.
Yeah.
On Friday, I was like, all right, I have to mentally put a note in my head. I can't forget it's Frizz's birthday. Don't forget it's Frizz's birthday. Because, you go to the lake and you lose some brain cells. You hang out with the Caps at the Hillbilly Yacht Club, and who knows what the hell happens.
Hey, you look like you're having fun.
Oh, it was a blast now. Jim Caps knows how to throw a party. But subdued. And socially distanced, of course.
Right.
But his brother, Dan Caps, is like one of the funniest people I've literally ever met. And he's got this big Canon camera that he takes everywhere, and he took probably like 300 pictures. And I was seeing some of them filter in last night, and it was fun. It's like you hate when the weekend's over because you got to go home because it's so much fun, but it's a beautiful place they've got. And you know me, if there's a boat, some beer, and some steak, he cooked this beef tenderloin that I'm not kidding you. I've never had better beef tenderloin. Cooked it to perfection. Used Annie Gunn Smokehouse, this black pepper that was just perfect with some scallops and shrimp. Scoreboard guy would have been impressed.
Yes, I would have.
He would have been impressed with the spread on Saturday night. All right, Greg, thanks for holding. You want to talk some Cardinals baseball? How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm pretty good, and I'm just happy to see the birds on the bat back on the ball field and actually cruising around here at Heyman's Field this morning.
There you go. Yeah, look, Friday, obviously, I came out hot and heavy with what they put on the mound, and I still feel the same way. I'm not going to go down that foxhole again, but I'm just shocked that Major League Baseball decided to partner up with them. But whatever. You know what? It was unique? It was unique to turn on the radio or turn on the television set and just see live baseball. I'll be honest. When you're at the lake, you're not really doing a whole lot of watching TV. But it was on, and it was on in the background. And see, that to me is the comfort of what baseball provides. Rarely does anybody sit down and watch the first pitch through the final pitch. I mean, unless it's like a playoff game or really something else going on, or maybe you had a few too many cervezas the night before and you're just couch-ridden. But baseball was on, and it's special. And we're going to talk a lot of baseball here coming up with Dave Solomon at 9:30.
And best thing about it, it's back on the radio. And yesterday I was actually listening to it, and I don't want to make your head swell, but they actually brought your name up during the broadcast. Well,
it's funny you should mention that. Would you like to hear it? I've got it cut up for you here for a little self-promotion, Greg. I didn't know you were going to call it and throw this out there, but if you did it, I'm going to have to play it now because you know me. I love some me now.
I thought I'd bring it up, but I didn't want to make your head swell.
Hey, my head, you'd be amazed. I know that I come off as big of an ego as you could possibly imagine, but I'm actually a pretty nice guy, especially off the radio.
Well, I was going to lie and say they didn't have good things to talk about you, but I guess you had it on recording. So.
Well, I always get a little worried now because they know more about me than most. And now, Mike and John, I've said this for a long time. They're two of the most entertaining radio broadcasters in the business. And for me, at a very young age, I was senior in high school getting up there and helping them out with lineups and statistics and pouring them Diet Cokes and managing their tickets and bringing Mr. Shannon's golf clubs to the bus. And, you know, it's funny because I tell a story when I was on a charter plane with the Blues in Edmonton, and I thought I was a bigwig, and I dropped my luggage off at the bus thinking that somebody else would load it. Well, they gave me a real quick lesson in, son, you load your own bags on the bus. We don't load the fill-in radio engineers' bags. So they left them in Edmonton, and we get to Calgary, where I was supposed to go with the Fox Sports Midwest team to Banff. Now, if you don't know what Banff is, you need to Google image Banff. It's like one of the most beautiful places on earth. But I didn't have a bag, so I'm in like a suit, and I didn't go. Biggest regret. Luckily, Bernie Federico stayed in Edmonton that night to party with a friend. We got a hold of Bernie. He went to the arena, the Rexall place, picked up the bag, and drove it to Calgary, and I was back in action. But I knew what to do with Mr. Shannon's bags. I would never leave them at chance. You put those golf clubs on the bus, or you're not getting your spending money, big boy. And that was good spending money he'd give at the end of a homestand. Cash. Straight cash, homie.
Well, when are you guys supposed to be moving stations?
Well, the plan is for somewhere in between August 4th and going forward. There are some engineering snafus that are just difficult to explain, but trust me, they are working feverishly to do so in a manner at which we're going to get the best signal. So it will be on the Jock, obviously, until the move is concrete and the signals are good. So bear with us, but pardon our mess while we make the change.
All right. You guys have a good one.
All right, Greg. Good to hear from you. So this is Shannon and Rooney yesterday. This is literally moments before Derek Holland got thrown out of the game. And, back when they come back from station ID, John will always go through the list of names in the booth. And alongside Mike Shannon, I'm John Rooney with Jim Jackson and Mike Claiborne. And our in-booth assistant is Michael, I forget his last name here.
Michael Langston.
Michael Langston. And for the 2008 season, it was with Mike Shannon, I'm John Rooney in St. Louis. Jim Jackson's our engineer. Mike Claiborne alongside. And Nate Lucas is our booth assistant. What the hell does Nate do? Where is Nate? No, Shannon used to say, where is that Nate? Is he eating again? He's like, that Nate, I think he's got a tapeworm, man. He just eats, but he doesn't weigh a pound. I got a left foot that weighs more than that boy. All right, here we go. This was right before Derek Holland got ejected from the ball game.
Michael Langston is our in-booth assistant and has been a big help getting things started here in the 2020 shortened season. Pitch in for a strike. The right-handed batting Lane Thomas.
All of the new innovations we have.
The pitch is taken high for a ball. Well, printing out a lot of the pregame information and helping with the lineups and doing a little bit of everything. Michael's one of the best we've had.
Well, we've had some good
We
ones.
have had some really good ones. Here's a pitch low and away.
And they've gone on to some really good careers, including our guy that does the Springfield games.
Old Nate Lucas, Matt Krasinski.
Yeah, he's running the airport now.
The 2-1 pitch.
That's my favorite part.
Over but low, a 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
So there you go. That's sweet of them. I mean, there's been a lot of booth assistants, but right off. But part of it too is that I'm still involved, with
the Cardinals.
Yeah, and with the Cardinals, and help out, on an opportunity basis up there with visiting teams. And Jim Jackson, I still, and Mike, still involved with them in many ways. But there have been a lot of good ones. And Matt Krasinski, when he brings up that name, Matt was like the golden booth assistant. I mean, no one could top Matt Krasinski. In fact, Matt would always come back and train the incoming booth assistant. And Matt got really good. For a while, he ran Mike Shannon Steaks and Seafood downtown. Then he helped out. He got a position over with Anheuser-Busch, InBev. But then when Shannon goes, yeah, he runs the airport. What that really means is that he runs Mike Shannon's airport restaurant. So a lot of people, but that's how Shannon works. I mean, that's like how you have to play with Mike, because he'd be like, hey, Nate, who's my guy in Chicago? And I'm like, let me roll through my Rolodex. Chicago. Who specifically are we thinking about? My guy, my tickets guy in Chicago. I'm like, oh, I know, because I'd have to keep the guy in my phone like Chicago tickets guy, then with a name, to try to scroll through the contacts and find him. But very honored that those guys still, enjoy bantering about me. And it's fun to do what we get to do. And it was fun to listen to Shannon and Rooney on the radio, for God's sakes. It's been too long.
Yeah, that's the only way I did Cardinal baseball over the weekend. I did tune in for the game one to see what the unity was like. And not one Cardinal knelt. So.
No, only one Pirate did.
Yep.
I'm just going to say one thing on that. The only thing I had to kind of get a chuckle out of was that on the next day, did you see what they had in place of the BLM MLB logo on the mound?
I did not.
They had, and this is where it just goes to show you, it's all about money. They had a Bud Light seltzer ad put onto the mound. And so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, isn't that just show you that it's all about ad revenue right there?
Well, it is. There has to be, because there's nobody in the stands.
One day it goes from some big message, and the next day it's a Bud Light seltzer ad that they have imposed on the pitcher's mound. So, there you go. I'll just leave it at that. You can come up with your own conclusions. I've already come up with mine. 9:29, we need to hit a break. David Solomon from 590 in the Fan will join us, as he always does on Monday. And then coming up at 10 a.m., Max McGreevy, the winner of the Price Cutter Charity Championship. Boy, he took it home yesterday. He wasn't the leader going into yesterday, and he won it. And that guy was lights out with the putter. Most are when they win on any tour. We'll talk to him coming up in hour number 2. Quick timeout. Be right back. Jock 98.7, but also 96.9 and AM 1060 ESPN, the Jock.